Behind me is our Virginia pine, Pinus virginiana, also known as the scrub pine. You can see the tree generally goes quite tall, usually about 80 or 90 feet. It's a very fast-growing tree. It sheds its lower branches as it grows up, and usually only the top part of the canopy is covered in needles. Like all pines, it reproduces with pine cones. Usually these are on the order of 1.5 to 2.5 inches in size. The tree is not a very long-lived tree, usually 30 to 35 years. It is often considered a pioneer species. It is one of the first trees to come up in a field when it is cleared. It's not particularly prized for its lumber because it is the wood is quite twisted, but it does have very long fibers, so it is sought after for wood pulp. It will often come down in storms, either breaking in the middle or tearing up by the roots. It has a relatively shallow root system. One of several pines you'll find in the area. Others are the white pine, the loblolly pine, and the shortleaf pine. This tree can be identified primarily by its needles and shape. The Virginia pine usually comes in groups of 2, is usually 1.5 to 2.5 inches long, and it is twisted, forming a V for Virginia. The Virginia pine, Pinus virginiana. Behind me is one of our more common pine trees. This is Pinus virginiana, or the Virginia pine, sometimes also known as the scrub pine. You can see it can grow to about 80, 90 feet. It's a very fast-growing tree, often one of the first trees to come in and in forest succession. It's not a very long-lived tree. 30, 35 years is fairly typical for a Virginia pine. You can see as the tree grows, it sheds its lower branches, and usually only needles on the very high part of the tree. It reproduces like all pines with pine cones, and you can see many of them up in the tree. This is one of 4 or 5 pines that are very common in the area. The others are white pine, shortleaf pine, and loblolly pine. The distinguishing characteristics of this is probably the needles. This is an example of the Virginia pine needle. They come in clusters of 2. They form a V shape, and they are usually twisted, usually about 1.5 to 2.5 inches. This is not a particularly prized lumber tree. It has very long fibers, so it is prized mostly for wood pulp, but its wood is quite twisted, so it doesn't make good lumber. It is also not a very sturdy tree when it comes to storms. It will often either break in the middle or in high winds, or it will rip up by the roots. It has a relatively shallow root system. The Virginia pine, Pinus virginiana.
This is actually
What is that?
native Lespedeza. It's not Chinese.
Oh, it's not? Really?
This isn't, because see how thin the leaves are?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's native.
Really?
The,
It's going to die anyway because they're going to have to kill it.
Oh, yeah. Right. That's interesting.
To kill the other Lespedeza, though, this has got to go.
Okay.
We can't distinguish.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead and
Start.
let's see. Although there's a big sycamore behind you there, so.
Yeah. I don't want to hurt the sycamore. Can you step over
Yeah,
here?
Let's do that. Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. I'll stay behind me. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, because we already panned up, so they'll.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.